Hello, everybody, and welcome to this guest session with Siobhan Strode, who I'm going to look over here because I've got my details about Siobhan written. So I promise you, I am still talking to you. I'm not talking to somebody else. Siobhan is an advocacy consultant and mentor who I have known for a number of years now. I first met Siobhan when she was working primarily as a copywriter, but somebody who in her work as a copywriter has always had this deep connection and deep belief that in order to do that job well, you had to sit in your values. And so I'm absolutely delighted that Siobhan is making this pivot over to talking about how you can do that and really talk about the things that you care about confidently and take up space in order to do that. And of course, for many writers in this community, I know that this is something that causes some of you some concern and discomfort. The idea that when you are stepping into your values and stepping into your beliefs, that you may overstep and therefore alienate other people, or you may offend people accidentally, or you are just very worried about what people will think. And that is something that then causes you to hold back. And ultimately, I think that holding back can make you feel quite inauthentic in the way in which you are taking up space online. And that in turn makes it far less likely that you are going to do what you need to do, and also that it's going to be effective. So wherever you're putting your energy, is it going to be effective, or as effective as it could be, if you are not sort of really standing in your beliefs and talking about the things that you really care about in the way that you passionately want to. So if any of that kind of sounds familiar to you, this session with Siobhan, I hope, is going to introduce you to a different way of thinking about this barrier and give you some ideas and some tools that you can use in order to start building that confidence to step into your beliefs and into your values and into your power. So that you can stop second guessing yourself and stop sort of worrying about whether you sound polished enough or whether you're expressing things in the most perfect way. Now, Siobhan has a really interesting multi-hyphenate background. So as well as her copywriting work that she's done for many years, she's also been in the classroom as a teacher. She's also been a counsellor, a local counsellor, and she's also campaigned for to be an MP, I believe. Was that in 2019? Was it 2017?
Yeah, I stood for Labour in 2019.
2019. So she has a really strong, solid background in what it means to step into your beliefs and be very public with what you really think about, whatever issue it might be. So I am not going to speak anymore for the next sort of 45 minutes. Siobhan is going to take over. I'm sure she's got a few more details she might add in there to introduce herself. And then at the end, if you have any questions, that is when you can ask those questions. If you have any questions that come up for you during the session, then feel free to put them in the chat if you're worried that you might otherwise forget. And we will loop around back round to those. And if anybody's watching this on replay and you have any questions that come up for you while Siobhan is giving her delivering her training, then please do put them in the comments, and I will come back to you. I will perhaps check in with Siobhan if there's something that I can't answer, or I will give it a shot myself. But Siobhan, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome. I'm just going to hand over to you and let you kick things off then. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the lovely introduction. We've known each other for a long time. We worked on a feminist magazine together back in 2018.
Yeah.
And I've admired your work for a long time as well. So I was saying to Nick before you all got here that I'm really nervous, and it's because I like Nick. And I don't normally get nervous before workshops. So so excuse me if I'm like stumbling over my words. I've also got I've had a bit of a head cold this week, so if I get a bit hoarse and I'm sipping my drink, that's why. Let's kick off. Bear with me while I work out what the internet wants me to do. present. Share my screen. There we go. Is it going to open the right tab? It is. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Okay, so speak out like you mean it is kind of the name of the workshop, because speaking out about your work isn't too much, and I think Nick's brand name, Too Much Social, is kind of like brilliant for this, because I think a lot of us feel like we're too much sometimes. And it's something that I've learned kind of over the years, is that you're not. So who am I? Obviously Nick's just given me a quick intro, so I'll skim over these bits, but I've been kind of obsessed with supporting women, non-binary folks, non-gender conforming people, to use their voice, tell their stories, and generally fuck up the status quo. I do swear a lot, so apologies. Maybe we should put a trigger warning on. It's for like people with kids around. I mean, I swear in front of my kids, but you know, not everyone does. But yeah, when I'm not like rocking the boat in my work or at a protest, you'll usually find me at the beach. I live in Devon, like not far from the coast, and I'm usually either there kicking a ball around with my 3 kids and walking the dog, or throwing a ball and trying to wear him out because he's a collie. And my husband's a teacher. He works locally as well. So yeah, I've been in the online business space since I left teaching full-time in 2015. And when I left teaching full-time in 2015 and we moved to Devon, so I was a teacher in London, I basically threw off the chains of teaching and became kind of obsessed with I've always been obsessed with social justice, but I kind of was able to wear that hat more freely when I set up my business. So yeah, I've kind of been banging on about values for nearly a decade now, and why it's so important as a brand, which is what you are as writers and authors, your personal brands. So yeah, well, let's get stuck in. I thought we'd start with a quote from Frank Ocean, which is, "There's some magic, just some magic in truth and honesty and openness." And that's really what we're talking about today, is that being able to stand up in your values, stand in your values, to talk about your story, to talk about your journey, to tell people about why you do what you do. That's really important in making you stand out from other writers as well. So we're going to get stuck into a combination of things today. Ever the teacher, here's your objectives. So what we're learning today, how to understand, you're going to understand why stories and values matter, because this is something that people skim over. They like bang on about how you've got a niche down, but then they don't actually talk about why your story actually matters. So I'm gonna go on a feminist rant, let's be honest, that's what's going to be. And then you're going to understand why your story and standing up for what you believe matters. Oh, that's kind of the same thing, so I've duplicated myself there, ignore me. To come away feeling more confident and courageous about speaking up, some new tools for writing some authentic captions, because I think that is something I wanted to do, is give you something tangible to take away from today, and then I've set you a little challenge as well at the end. Okay, so we'll skim over these because we've spent enough time yakking. So in the chat, I'd like you to put kind of what's holding you back from sharing your stories and your values. Just really quickly in the chat, is there something specific that's holding you back? Is there one annoying person in your feed who you're like, I don't want them to know what I stand for? Or is there somebody who's always making little side comments? Or is it like, you know, on LinkedIn, you've got all your old colleagues and you don't want them to know, like, this is, I'm just talking about myself now, my own colleagues, me wagging on about feminism, and they're like, why? But yeah, pop them in the chat. Hopefully I'll be able to see it, except it's disappeared. Where I hate the way Zoom keeps tinkering with where things are. So irritating. Okay, so feeling like other people are already saying it. Yes, Nick, that is so true. And I get that too. I totally get that. And sometimes that makes me go quiet for a couple of weeks because I'm like, oh my God, the noise. Feeling shy on social media. Yep. Much happier writing or speaking about your beliefs. and values them posting them, which is interesting because you could do that on social media too. Fear of not properly sufficiently rigorous, no, like doing it properly sufficiently rigorously enough. Yeah. Letting down the issue by going off half-cocked. Okay, cool. I hear you. Oh, Rebecca, your book sounds interesting. Toxic masculinity, earlier conversation. Strong views on it, but I know others taken opposite view. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Right, hang on a